Hello everyone, welcome, welcome. This is Nim Golkar and welcome to Sunday Chats with Nim. Now I've attached my mic, so hopefully the volume is clear. Can someone, some kind soul, please drop me a line and say that the audio is okay and that you can hear me? Because that way I'll feel reassured and I can get started with today's topic. So guys, can you hear me clearly? Hopefully the audio is okay, and I'm waiting for someone to quickly type in the comments that you can hear me clearly so that I can continue without worrying about whether or not you can hear me. So welcome. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Nim Golkar. I am an author and a coach and the founder of Gaia Success Academy in Sydney. Now, our academy has lots of different coaching programs, but my area of expertise is communication. And my coaching programs are designed exclusively to help professionals become powerful communicators and have a style of communication that helps them become more visible in the workplace so that they are perceived as leadership material by senior management in the companies that they work for. So that's just a little bit of my introduction, and everyone's being so kind to let me know audio is all okay. Thanks Vandana, thanks Aruna, thanks Swati, hi Yogini, and welcome aboard. Super excited about today's topic, but before I dive right in, I just want to remind everyone about the Sunday Chats competition that is currently underway. Now what that is at the end of the first 12 episodes of Sunday Chat for 2019, my team and I, we're going to sit down together and we're going to have a look at who all have been participating actively in the Sunday Chat sessions. And then we're going to put all those names into a draw and we're going to pull out one lucky winner. Now that winner is going to win 2 prizes. They will win a copy of my second book, Unlock the Real You, Strategies for Getting Ahead Personally and Professionally. And they'll also receive a 1-hour, one-on-one exclusive live coaching session with me. So I'm really excited about that. All you need to do is to make sure that you keep these sessions interactive. So ask questions, post comments, share insights, so that way we can have an engaged community that can help each other and add value. Excellent, and continue saying your highs and hellos, but please do say a lot more as well, so that, as I always say, I don't feel quite so alone behind this camera talking just one way. All right, so now that we've got all that out of the way, I want to first ask you whether you've had a nice, relaxing, hopefully lazy Sunday. Have you had a nice Sunday so far? Now mine was meant to be a lazy Sunday. In fact, I had every intention under the sun to make it a relaxed Sunday, but it did not turn out quite like that. Because you see, I'm currently working on many different super exciting projects, all designed to help you guys who are watching, help you get ahead, both personally as well as professionally. So my mind was abuzz with all these ideas, and I was brainstorming on my whiteboard at home, and I've had about 3.5 cups of coffee already. So no, it wasn't a relaxed Sunday, but it was a productive one, and I won't complain. So let's dive right in. Today I'm going to talk about one of my most favorite topics ever, which is how to stop making excuses and finally achieve your goals. Now I'm sure you'll all agree with me that many of us have been guilty of making excuses throughout our lives at different milestones of our lives. And we possibly look back and regret that we didn't make certain decisions when the time was right. We didn't take certain leaps of faith. All this because of fears that have held us back, and all this because of excuses that have been obstacles in our path. So today I'm going to really talk about and focus on 3 of the most common excuses most people give themselves, and I'm going to come up with some strategies to help you overcome those. Let me say my highs. Hi, Manasi. And Ruchi's had a very relaxing Sunday. I'm very happy for you, Ruchi. That's the way Sundays are meant to be. And Vandana says, nice and active. Fantastic. Way to go. All right, now let me throw this question out at you guys, right? So that you can start being a little interactive. I want to ask you, what do you think are some of the most common excuses we give ourselves? Does anyone want to be brave enough and have a go? Now remember, there's never a right or a wrong answer, so feel free and type your comments. What do you think are some of the excuses we give ourselves throughout the week, throughout the year, throughout our lives? Name one or two. I'm just waiting for you to type some. I certainly have 3 lined up for today, the most common ones, but I would love to hear your perspective as well. What are some of the excuses you think we give ourselves? Excuses that prevent us from being productive, that prevent us from leading fulfilling lives, that prevent us from making our dreams come true. Because you know what? We all know we're making those excuses. Sometimes it's difficult to admit it to ourselves. But we're amongst friends and we're here to brainstorm strategies, so please go ahead and type away. And Manasi says tired and busy, absolutely right. And Vandana says fear. Very, very true. All different kinds of fears are at the back of the various excuses we give ourselves. And Yogini says don't have the time, don't have the money. Definitely right. One of the most common excuses again that we give ourselves: I don't have the time, I don't have the money, I don't know how to do it, I'm not smart enough, everyone else is smarter than me, things like that. Scared of what people will say. Yes, Yogini, fear of being judged is actually one of the most common fears that's, holding people back. As you all know, there was this famous Bollywood song, Kuch to log kahenge, logon ka kaam hai kehna. Even though we all appreciate that song, and if my memory serves me right, that was a Rajesh Khanna number. Even though we all sing that song and we all use it as an example of how not to worry, despite that, at a subconscious level, we don't quite believe it, because we do allow ourselves to be riddled with fear of judgment, and that holds us back. But I would encourage you, if you've not heard that beautiful, iconic, evergreen song, do go and listen to the lyrics, because they are truly insightful and truly applicable in today's modern times. Excellent. So thank you all for offering your opinions. All of them are correct and spot on. And I have put together 3 of the most common excuses that are holding us back, and I think some of you have covered it already. I'm just going to go into it in a little more depth. So the first excuse that we give ourselves: I'm too busy. Have we all heard of this excuse? I am just too busy. And what is left unsaid after those words is, I am too busy to live the life I have always dreamt of living. Unfortunately, we only say the first 4 words, I am too busy. What we leave unsaid is the crucial part. What you're really saying is you're too busy to start living the life you were born to live. And if we keep reminding ourselves of the latter part of the sentence, perhaps we will be able to rein in those fears and start living lives that are less afraid. Now, taking that excuse, I am too busy. This is a common excuse, and it's perhaps one of the most dangerous excuses. You know why? Because in all probability, it is true that you are indeed extremely busy. But the danger lies in the fact, are you busy doing things that really matter? You see, modern life has become so hectic. It has become so rushed that most of us are caught up in running around from dawn to dusk, from pillar to post, from one activity to the next, shuttling constantly between appointments and not being able to decide which appointment is more urgent. And because of that, we turn into these hamsters on wheels, constantly on the go, constantly on the run, and we have no idea, absolutely none, how to slow down and hop off. So my friends, if you have been postponing all your dreams, if you have been delaying doing things that you really want to do in this one lifetime of ours, because you've been telling yourself you don't have the time, because you've been telling yourself that you're just too busy, I urge you to slow down just long enough to practice some self-awareness, some self-reflection. Every week, we need to set aside at least half an hour. You can do that at the start of the week, or you can do that at the end of the week. But it is crucial to mark in your calendar 30 minutes just for yourself, where you sit down wherever you want. It could be in a coffee shop, it could be in your bedroom, it could be out in the park. Doesn't matter. Take a journal and a pen with you. Sit down for 30 minutes and really think about how and where you are spending your time. Because time is a finite resource. We keep forgetting it. We're all living as though we're going to live forever. We're all living as though we have all the time in the world to someday make our dreams come true. And guess what? That is not the case. Time, like I said, is a finite resource. It is going to run out someday. Someday, we're going to wake up and know that time's up. Time has run out. We no longer have the time to do everything that we wanted to do. So take 30 minutes every week, either at the start or at the end. Take a journal and a pen. Go somewhere that's quiet. Go somewhere where there's no distractions, definitely not the internet, and reflect. Become aware of the stuff you're doing throughout the week. Make a list of all the tasks, all the activities that you're busy doing from Monday through to Sunday. And then ask yourself, what is it that you really want to do while you're here on earth? What are the things that really matter? Is it family? Is it giving back to the universe? Is it living up to your potential? Whatever the case may be, write down those one or two things that you really, really want to get done. And then go back to that list of tasks and activities and ask yourself, with each task, does this contribute any long-term meaning to my life? Does this task that I'm so busy doing, that I'm so worried about, that I'm giving 3 or 4 hours of my life to, is this task going to matter in the long run? And if so, how much is it going to matter? Then you have to prioritize and ask yourself that if a task is not adding any value long-term to your life, then you must find ways to either reduce that task, delegate it, or, if possible, eliminate it completely. Because there is no point, my friends, running around in circles all day long, all week long, all year long, being supremely busy with things that are taking you absolutely nowhere. So let this be the last time you stop yourself from doing something you've always wanted to do by telling yourself, you know what, I'm just too busy. Being busy and being productive are two very different things. And the only one you need to be accountable to is yourself. Unless you stop every week for 30 minutes and take stock of what it is that you're busy doing, so busy that you can't actually do those few things that are going to make life worthwhile in the long run, you really need to slow down and ask yourself how you can start bringing those things that matter more into your day-to-day life. So that was my first excuse for not attaining the success that you've always wanted to, and that was I'm too busy. And I'm going to cover the other two excuses as well. And I'm just going to say my hellos. Mazia, hi. Welcome aboard. Hi, Shivani. Thank you for joining in. And hopefully you're all enjoying yourselves. And hopefully you have a paper and pen to write some notes, unless you're one of those people, and I'm not one of them, who has a fantastic memory and who can remember everything. I'm just someone who loves taking notes. So it'll be great if you have something to write on so that you can go back and think about some of the things that we are discussing today. Hi, Tejas. Welcome aboard. Thank you for joining in. Hi, Pari. Thank you for coming online and joining us. Lovely to see you all. Today we are talking about, for those of you who've only just joined in, we're talking about how to stop making excuses and finally, and I put that in brackets when I wrote that earlier in my blog post, finally make your dreams come true. I say finally because you know what? We've all waited way too long to start living up to our true potential. So it's time, finally, to make some of those things come true. And I'm here to make those things a little bit easier for you all. So we've covered the first excuse, I am too busy, and I've got two more lined up, just seeing how we're tracking for time. Now, if you've missed some of this episode, remember, it will be posted on my timeline, plus on my YouTube channel, so no fear, you can go back and watch it at your own pace and at your own leisure. The next excuse I'm going to talk about, ooh, this is a good one too, and that is, I am too old. Has anyone watching ever thought that? I am too old to do X, Y, or Z. Poor me, sad little me, I'm just too old. No, you're not. You're not too old. I'm going to tell you this beautiful quote by the very great Eleanor Roosevelt. And she had said, today is the oldest you'll ever, today, let me read this. Today is the oldest you've ever been and the youngest you'll ever be. I always get mixed up when I say this quote, but it's so beautiful but so complicated. So let me repeat that. Today is the oldest you've ever been and the youngest you'll ever be. Please write that down, laminate it, and stick it up on your bedroom window or on your wardrobe or whatever it is. It's such a powerful quote. Today is the oldest you've ever been and the youngest you'll ever be. This is a very powerful quote by Eleanor Roosevelt, and I'm going to tell you why I believe in it so much. Because all of you, who are watching this session, no matter what age you are today, maybe you're 25, 35, 70, 90, it doesn't matter. Whatever age you are at this moment as you watch this Facebook Live with me, you're never going to be this age ever again. Never. If you're 35, tomorrow you'll be 35 plus 1 day, right? So you're only going to get older. Unfortunately, none of us is going to get any younger. So remember, also what I love saying is today is the first day of the rest of your life. Okay, so let's stop telling ourselves all the time, I'm too old to do this and I'm too old to do that. Let's say, for example, let me explain with an example so hopefully the message sinks in and is a little clearer. Let's say, as you watch this program with me today, you're approximately 40 years old, okay, or 35 or whatever, but for the example, we'll say 40. Let's say you're 40 years old and you've always wanted, all your life, you've wanted to start your own business, but you were afraid. You were wondering what people will say, you were wondering if you will fail, you were wondering if you were smart enough, whatever the fears that held you back, you never got around to starting your own business. And now that you are the sage old age of 40, you are telling yourself, I'm too old to start a business. And so you decide to give up on this long-held dream of yours. But now think about it. Let's say 10 years roll by and it is now your 50th birthday and everyone is singing happy birthday and you're blowing out the candles on this beautiful lavish cake that your family has bought for you. While you're blowing out the candles, possibly you will look back and you will think, damn, why didn't I start that business 10 years ago? I was only 40 then. Imagine how much I could have achieved in these last 10 years before I hit 50. And these are the thoughts that lead to regret. These are the thoughts that lead to frustration, that lead to bitterness, that lead to us looking back at the end of our journey and thinking, I did not spend my time on earth well. So whatever age you are today, I want you to remember, I urge you to remember, you are not too old, and it is certainly not too late. Today's moment is within your grasp. The past is done and dusted. The future is yet to be lived. All that you have within your circle of control is this present moment. So do not waste it by worrying about whether or not you're too old, because like I've just told you, you're not too old. You still have the rest of your life ahead of you. And 10 years down the track, you are going to look back and be grateful that you started today. So let's get rid of that excuse that you're too old, you're not, and you've got the rest of your life ahead of you. Does anyone have any questions before I dive into the very last excuse that is making our lives miserable and not letting us achieve our dreams? And Pari says it's a very good topic. Thank you, Pari. I'm glad you agree with me because I think that too. I think not many of us really think on a conscious level about the excuses that are holding us back. I think subconsciously we're all aware that something or the other is standing in the way. But we're too busy to sit back and really reflect on what those excuses are. So I thought today is a good time, Sunday afternoon in Sydney, and if you're watching from India, it's probably mid-morning, but a good time to sit down with a cup of coffee and hopefully remove any distractions and really think about where our life is heading, where we want to be in the next 10 or 15 years, and really start to set the ball rolling towards those goals. Like I said at the start, time is finite. Our time on earth is limited. We are not going to live forever. And I really don't want any of you to look back with regret that you did not use this time well. I remember another quote I have often read and often admired, and that is, you only get one life, but if you live it well, once is enough. Isn't that beautiful? So let's dive into the last excuse that is holding us back from living the kind of life we want to live. And that excuse is, I will do it when I'm ready. Classic. Anyone familiar with that excuse? I will do it when I'm ready. I will do it when I'm confident. Not happening. Many of us live as the one fine day we're going to wake up, we're going to jump out of bed, and miraculously we would have overcome all our fears and overcome all our self-doubt, and we'll be ready to take on the world and make our dreams come true. Well, I'm going to burst the bubble and tell you it ain't happening. It's not going to happen. That day when you're completely without fear, that day when you're 100% ready, that day when you're super confident isn't going to happen anytime soon. So let's quit waiting for it. Let's quit pretending it's going to happen. Because, you know, the way life is, as soon as we overcome one fear, lo and behold, a new fear pops up that keeps us from moving forward. So what I suggest you do is whatever it is that you've been postponing, you just have to grit your teeth and take that leap of faith. Now, I'm not saying that you don't have to do your research and you don't have to do your preparation, but there's something called too much research and too much preparation, what they called analysis paralysis, where you think about your decision for so long that more and more fears pop up into your mind and you're actually not able to take any action. You're stuck and unable to move forward. So what I want you to do from today is to start taking little steps even when you're not 100% sure, even when you're not 100% ready. Because you're never going to be 100% ready. So we're all waiting for this day that's never going to come, and we're just wasting all this time. Please do your research. Please do a decent amount of preparation, but do not over-analyze anything, because that is the path to getting stuck. Let's have a look at some Satinder Kaur. I'm inspired to see this video. Yay! I'm inspired to share this message with you because I don't know if many of you are aware, but I'm on this personal mission to reduce regret for as many people as possible. What gives me joy and fulfillment is to see as many people as possible go through life despite their fear, trying to make things come true, so that when our time on earth is done and we look back, we think, you know what? It was a short life, but I spent it well. And that is important. And Manasi says, live life now, and the now is all in capitals, giving it that extra focus and that extra zing. And I agree, Manasi, we do need to live life now, because now is all we have. Now is all we have. It's the only thing that's within our control. So let's not waste it by being worried about what people will say. Let's not waste it by worrying about whether or not we'll fail. Of course you'll fail, and what's so bad about that? Every time you do something new, every time you do something for the first time, you'll fail. Why are we so shocked by that? Failure is your teacher. It is not your enemy. And when we learn to embrace failure and treat it as a mentor, as a teacher, I mean, think about your school teachers. We're not really going to resent them for teaching us life lessons. Similarly, why are we resenting fear? If we start looking at it as a teacher rather than as our enemy, we will learn to stop being so scared of failing. Look, I've failed millions of times, but that's only because I'm so curious about things around me, and I always want to learn new things. And every time I do something for the first time, I fail. But you know what? I dust myself off, get up again, and say, okay, now I know this does not work. What's next? And you just keep going and you keep going. The fun is in the journey. The fun is in the making the mistakes. The fun is not in the destination. So let's not worry about when am I going to arrive, because the fun is here and now, as you learn, as you fail, as you grow. And Vaishali has asked, how do you fight your fear? Vaishali, good question. You don't fight fear, you embrace it. The minute we use words in our heads like fighting fear, it puts in negative connotations. It makes us back off. Because fighting anything is like you being on one side and having an opposition on the other side. Instead of thinking, how do we fight fear? Let's change the narrative in our heads. Let's say instead, how do I embrace fear? So what you need to do is, you're never going to overcome fear, because fear is a very natural part of our lives. It is fear that has helped us survive as a human race. So let's not get into that futile search for how to fight fear. Instead, you've got to think, how do I use the energy that is packed inside this fear and channel it in the right direction? So Vaishali, no matter what you do, you will still feel afraid. But what I do is, I allow myself to feel afraid even as I'm doing the things I want to do. So I take my leaps of faith even while I'm feeling afraid, because that's the only way you're going to overcome it. It's only when we go across, it's only when we do the things that we thought we could never do, that confidence is finally born. So I hope that answers your question. I know it's a brief answer, but I'm cognizant of time. So hopefully that sheds some light on the question you had asked. And Tejas, wow, this is great. Thanks for sharing this quote. You only live once, but if you do it right, once is enough. Absolutely right, because one life is all we have, and if we live it well, we really don't have to worry about not having used our time well. And Manasi says, forget your past, focus on your present to change your future. That's what my failures have taught me. Perfect. And that shows that you're not afraid of failure, which is a great thing, Manasi, because failure is our teacher. And as long as we take the time to pause and learn from every mistake, because remember, failure is a teacher. But there's no point having a teacher, there's no point having a mentor if you're not going to learn the lessons, if you're not going to do your homework. So every time you stumble and fall, every time you fail, there's homework that you have to do. Life is giving you homework. And that is, you've got to really sit back and think, what is life trying to teach me? What went wrong? How can I prevent this next time? How can I do better next time? And once you learn the lesson, you thank that failure for having made you a better, stronger person, and you just move on. I think it's fun, so let's stop being so scared about failure. So we were talking about the third excuse, which is I'll do it when I'm ready. It's the classic excuse, and one that really is holding us back. So remember, you're never going to feel ready. You're never going to feel 100% confident. What I want you to do is really think about project A, B, C that you've been, that you've put on the shelf and forgotten about, and it's collecting dust. I want you to think about it again this week and tell yourself, you know what, I'm not 100% ready. but I'll never be. I've done my homework, I've done my research, I've prepared. It's time to take that leap of faith. So my friends, we have run out of time, and I have had such a great time, and I hope you have too. So this was Sunday Chats with Nim. I now do it once every fortnight. It gives me enough time to work on my other projects, and it gives me enough time to think of really interesting topics to share with you all. So like I said at the start of today's session, I am working on some really exciting projects at the moment. All of them are being designed with you in mind. I think about you all the time. And I'm constantly thinking about, well, what can I share that will help make your lives, both in the personal and professional space, just a tad easier, just a tad more comfortable. So I've had an exciting day working on those projects. I can't tell you any more right now, so let the suspense build up a little bit, but I'll keep you posted as I go along. So hopefully you've enjoyed today's session, and if you have, I trust that your family and friends may find it beneficial too. Please do share it in your circle, and you'll find all my other videos from the past on YouTube, as well as on my author page on Facebook called Nim Golkar Author. Having said that, if you're interested in doing one of my life coaching programs, particularly the communication and getting over your fears program, please do connect with me. Drop me a line at info@nimgolkar.com. I will see you again in 2 weeks' time. Until then, remember, stop making excuses and start moving towards the life you've always wanted to live. Good luck, my friends. Mwah. Love you all. Bye for now.